What's something small you notice that shows someone has been through a lot? Their inability to ask for help and tackling everything on their own. They're used to no one else being there and still needing to get shit done. A lack of trust in most people, often dismissed as just maybe a cynic, but probably stems from a lifetime of betrayal, maybe as early as childhood. There are a lot of negative responses here, which is completely understandable, but I do want to add a positive sign of someone who's seen some things. They can be incredibly empathetic and patient, willing to listen with an open mind, and emit a warmth from them that seems to say, I feel your pain and my heart is with you. Coming out of a painful part of life can really help a person understand why other people are the way they are, because they know what pain does to them. Disproportionate reactions. Their reactions to most things are normal or even low key, but occasionally they have a huge response to something minor. Key sign of trauma. I work with parents' children who have endured and some regularly still enduring trauma. One thing I notice is in times of serious, immediate stress, like an active shooter nearby, as a real example, they go into a totally calm, rational state. Their brains seem to be trained to be more comfortable in chaos. They also seem to create chaos, often drama, when things start going too smoothly. A lot of people see this as self-sabotage. But if you're used to living in chaos, calm can feel really unfamiliar and frankly scary. Nothing surprises them anymore. This is a big one. Not many people have been in that deep, dark place. But if you have, it almost kills your soul. You couldn't even describe it to someone who hasn't experienced it. If you're in that state, or you've managed to get out, most things in life seem pretty trivial. Stranger was being rude, someone cut you off in traffic, just got a promotion at work. It all seems completely useless compared to what you're going through or what you've been through. One small thing I notice is how people handle their personal space. It might sound odd, but someone who's been through a lot often has a certain way of arranging their things or how they react to being around others. For instance, a slightly guarded or meticulous approach to organizing personal items or a tendency to stay quietly in the background can be subtle hints. It's like these small details are part of their coping mechanism or a reflection of their experiences. It's a gentle reminder that we all carry our stories with us in ways that aren't always immediately obvious. Bad at day-to-day life, but extremely good in an emergency situation. Jesus, yes. I was diagnosed with complex PTSD recently, and after 5 hours of being questioned about my entire life story by the psychiatrist, I realized that most people don't have lives like I've had. You run on fight or flight constantly, so when an actual emergency pops up, you just become calm and are totally in your zone. Being able to function when fight or flight doesn't apply is so fucking difficult. Put me in chaos, uncertainty, and crisis, and I thrive. So fucked up. They are able to read people. They run through countless scenarios and predict people's reactions and behaviors. Ultimately, they don't get mad or disappointed by others because they saw it coming. Occasionally, if something really hurts, they may feel a little tired or even relieved. For the most part, they've shut down emotionally, but every once in a great while, they think, maybe this person will prove me wrong. It's impossible to describe to someone what has to be earned through lived experiences. I've been able to sense the way people move, think, and feel since I was young. Not because I'm projecting my wants onto them, as some claiming to be empathetic commonly do. It's instead a measure of their aggression, their resentment, and their malice. You can feel the snark and growl in their voice, and you can almost touch the pervasive feeling of contempt they put out. You recognize it, or you suffer greatly. There are always consequences. These people infect the fabric of their social environment. They warp and control how people talk and feel, and often integrate more like themselves into positions of esteem. Questioning them becomes taboo, and confrontation is met with immediate anger and the compulsive need to socially purge the unquiet from their environment. It's cultish, and it creeps up on a community very quickly. It's one of the most unsettling things you can recognize. I was bartending one night, and I served this older couple with a smile. They were really nice, and I didn't think I was acting any different, even though I was going through a lot at the time. The old lady looked at me after I had cashed them out and said, You have a really sad look in your eyes. It's going to get better. She could tell I was going through something just by looking in my eyes, like some sort of magic. First, disproportionate reactions. Their reactions to most things are normal or even low key, but occasionally they have a huge response to something minor. Key sign of trauma. Second, when you see someone deal with something extremely emotionally damaging or physically painful and they act like they don't even notice it, like nothing's changed. When you see that you know they've seen the worst and nothing is going to get to them. Third, the maturity with which they handle unexpected events. When shit goes down, they know what to do. 4, not trusting people. You could be friends for years and think you're close, but in fact, you don't have the slightest idea what's going on in their lives. They could be staying up all night, being depressed, and tomorrow morning say hello with a smile on their faces. They simply don't trust people anymore, no matter what they do, don't do. 5, they have advice, good advice, for people who've just experienced trauma, or for how to handle oddly specific and fucked up situations. 6, super independent because they learn not to rely on anybody. 7, when nothing shocks them. 8, preparation. Most people who've dealt with horrendous situations now prepare for the proverbial worst. 9, honestly, empathy and understanding. Many have heightened senses of empathy naturally, but oftentimes the people who really care for others shows me that they themselves have really needed it at some point. 10, people who have been through some shit are reading these replies and realizing for the first time what their giveaways were all this time, lol. They walk silently and unintentionally scare other people when they finally see them. Had this happened the other day at the grocery store. I was shopping and a worker suddenly appeared beside me, never heard them coming, and I jumped. He muttered, "Sorry," and kept walking as if he's used to this interaction. I felt so bad because I do the same thing from years of childhood trauma. I hope he's doing okay otherwise. Walking without making noise is a learned behavior, usually in response to prolonged childhood trauma. Whether it be as an attempt to hide from threats in the house or to avoid getting reprimanded by a parent who can't stand the noise of their own children, or many other reasons. In many cases, this habit carries into adulthood, even long after the original threat is gone. This has been true in my case.